And I've known Coach Lewis, not as long as some in the room, but I knew him for just short of 30 years. Some people in the room knew him for 40 or more. And it's a gentleman who means a lot to the university, but I think moreover means a lot to college basketball and meant a lot to high school basketball in Houston. My name is Mike today. I'm a member of the Greater Houston Basketball Committee that was formed 5 years ago to create this award, and I'll be your MC for the evening. It's a very exciting night tonight as we're here to announce the 2016 winner of the Guy B. Lewis Award given to the boys high school basketball player of the year in the Greater Houston area. The Greater Houston area, just so you know, is described as Harris County and the 5 counties that touch it. So that is the Greater Houston area as the voting is seen. This is the premier award for high school basketball in Houston, and only the 5th year an award of this kind has been given out for the sport of basketball. And as you know, our friends at the Touchdown Club do a great job promoting high school football, and we intend to do the same thing with high school basketball. And whoever wins tonight has their hands full to live up to the bar that has been set very high. The 4 previous winners of this award are Rashid Suleiman, Aaron Harrison, Justice Winslow, and Galen Robinson Jr. And Galen is here. Where's Galen? Raise your hand, Galen. Congratulations, sir. For tonight's winner will be in some high company for sure. I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors tonight. First, our great presenting sponsors, the Bank of Houston, the H Association, the Alumni Association, and our friends at UPS, who are a little busy this weekend, doing everything from sponsoring the Final Four to delivering the floor. You probably saw that. We're also very grateful to Liberty Mutual for their continued support. We also want to offer our special thanks to our partners at Vibe Magazine, represented tonight where Derek and Matt are both here. Raise your hand. These gentlemen run Vibe Magazine, do a phenomenal job, and if you join me in a round of applause. I don't know if there's been a more instrumental print version of excitement for high school athletics than Vibe. And they've done for high school athletics in print what Todd Freed did for high school athletics in TV. Todd, raise your hand in the back with the two his high school athletics. And they've all helped us take this award to the next level with our voting and help get out our top 50, our watch list, our top 50, our top 20, and tonight, and our top 10. I also want to welcome members of the basketball programs from HBU, Prairie View, TSU, Houston, and Rice in tonight's game. We have a committee that is far-ranging across every university and every interest in the city that helps in the voting process for this award. To get our program started tonight, I want to introduce a few distinguished members of our audience, and this would be the spot where I introduce Coach Lewis. So first, let me say a word about Coach Lewis. Nearly 600 wins, 5 Final Fours, and coached 3 of the top 50 players of all time. Coach Lewis took his rightful place in the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame a couple years ago and passed away just this past January. The father of the big game, Coach Lewis, will be missed by all of us. When we first talked about this award, Coach mentioned to me that he wanted it to be an intimate affair where kids can enjoy a quiet night with their families and friends and be together. So that's why we don't have hoopla and table sales and all that. Coach wanted it to be about you and your coaches and your family. So I'd like to introduce Rob Lopez, the chair of the Houston Area Basketball Committee, who will help us hand out tonight's award. As you certainly heard by now, some very exciting things happened when Coach Lewis was inducted into the Hall of Fame a couple years ago, joining Elvin Hayes, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Clyde Drexler as a member of the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Many of us in Houston knew how much Coach Lewis did for college basketball in Houston, but high school basketball in Houston as well. He is one of the first to integrate the sport back in the 1960s by recruiting and signing Elvin Hayes and Don Shea to play for the Cougars. And he had the crazy idea that college basketball could be played on the largest stage in the largest arena, the Astrodome, and had a place on national TV with the game of the century against UCLA in 1968. He won 592 games, took his team to 5 Final Fours, and only 8 other coaches, to this day, only 8 other coaches in history have taken their team to more Final Fours than Guy Lewis. Excuse me, John Wooden, the Hall of Fame coach at UCLA, once said, the coaches I hated to coach against the most were the real good ones, and Guy was certainly one of those. You know of his stats in his career, but he meant more than that to his players and the people around his program. Coach Lewis did a lot to the city of Houston, to high school players in the city of Houston, and though he is a member of the College Basketball Hall of Fame, we're excited that he finally took his rightful spot in the Naismith Hall of Fame. I mentioned a moment ago that he was very instrumental in integrating the sport at the University of Houston and nationwide. And our speaker tonight, Bob Jacobus, is the author of the new book that just came out, Bob, in November. I was going to say October. The author of the Houston Cougars in the 1960s. And he's going to come up here now and tell you a little more about the legacy of head coach Guy Lewis and how he changed the game forever into what we will see this weekend. Bob.
And to me, this is the perfect setting of the Final Four here coming this weekend because Coach Lewis means so much to modern day basketball. And I wrote this book, I started back in 2007, and it is a book about the integration of the University of Houston Athletic Department in football with Coach Bill Yeoman and running back Warren McVay, and then Coach Lewis when he took in Elvin Hayes and Don Cheney from Louisiana. And it gets into how it all worked and everything. And what I thought about talking about was what a lot of people realize about Coach Lewis is he was so innovative and he changed the game in a lot of ways in the way we watch the game. Because Coach Lewis changed the way the game was played. He changed who got to play the game. And then he changed where the game was played. And how many coaches could make that statement, right? And what I'm talking about is how he changed how the game was played. You know, Coach Lewis was one of the first real proponents of the dunk shot. And I think we know the dunk is dominant in today's basketball. And most people think that the dunk started with fly slam jam, and they did. Coach Lewis had his teams dunking way back in the early 60s, before U of H even integrated. And he always thought the dunk was a very high percentage shot. It was not for show or flash or anything like that, but he thought, like I said, very high percentage shot. And then when Elvin Hayes and Don Cheney came in, they took dunking to a new level and all that. And what a lot of you folks probably don't realize is for 10 years, from 1967 to 1977, the dunk was outlawed in basketball, college basketball. And most people blame Lou Alcindor, Miss Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They thought he was the reason. But in doing my research and looking at old articles for the book, I found several quotes from John Wooden that said it was that crazy bunch from Houston that got it outlawed. Because I went through a lot of old newspaper articles. I saw some old films back when the dunk was legal. And, U of H was excited even back then in the 60s. And it wasn't just Hayes and Cheney, Gildas Lee and Melvin Bell. Some of you guys may remember some of these names. And so he changed how the game was played. Right? Then he changed who got to play the game. When in 1964, he went over to Louisiana to bring in Elvin Hayes and Don Cheney. And U of H was the first major college in the South to integrate their athletic program. Most people don't realize that. And to be honest, that's one of the main reasons I wrote the book is because people didn't know that. People think it's Bear Bryant in Alabama or Jerry Levias at SMU, things like that. But no, it was Bill Yeoman and Guy Lewis that did that. And so if you think about it, he changed who got to play the game. When I asked Coach Lewis, when I interviewed him several times, when I asked him, I said, well, why'd you do it? He says, well, he was honest. He says, I want to win games, but he also said it was the right thing to do. And Coach Yeoman basically told me the same thing on the football side. And I always like to look at it as they just wanted the best available athlete. It didn't matter what color they were. And so U of H was groundbreaking in that. Well, and another thing I didn't know about, and I gave Coach Lewis a bunch of credit for it, was when Hayes and Cheney came on campus in the fall of 1964 to start classes, they automatically assumed they were going to be roommates, the two African-American guys. Well, Coach Lewis, once again, when I talked to him, he said, well, he felt that would just isolate them more. So what he did was he paired them each with a white roommate to ease the transition into coming here to U of H. And it wasn't easy. Well, one gentleman still around here, Howard Lawrence, big U of H alumni, contributor, all that and everything. He was Elvin's roommate. And in talking to people, they said they looked kind of funny. Elvin wasn't Jeff. Elvin's 6'9", and Howard's probably 5'6", yeah, somewhere around there. And They're still very good friends today. When I talked to Howard, and I talked to Elvin, Elvin gives Howard a lot of credit for teaching him how to get up and go to class. And I think we know Elvin eventually got his degree from U of H 100, so he credits Howard for that. And then with Don Chaney, he was paired with a young man from Brooklyn. And Howard was from New York also, because Coach Lewis knew that both Howard and John Tracy, who came from Brooklyn, that they had grown up in an integrated society and they would know how to deal with having a black roommate. And so John Tracy from Brooklyn, and he came in, and probably my favorite part of the research of writing the book is the story about when they first met. August 64, getting ready to go. Well, Don had gotten there a day early, and when John Tracy came into the dorm room, he saw all Don's stuff piled in the corner, suitcases, all that, and he didn't realize it at the time, but the way segregation was back then, and growing up in Louisiana, a black person would never pick the bunk or closet for a white person. And that was just, that's the way it was 50 years ago. And in talking to both of those guys, they said, for the first month, Don Chaney wouldn't say hardly a word. He'd say yes, no, yup, and all that. And John Tracy said, he thought he'd done something wrong or things like that. And then finally one night, after about a month of this, Tracy sat down with Don. He said, hey, did I do something wrong? What's the deal? And Don Chaney said to John Tracy, said, well, John, you have to realize where I grew up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, you had to have permission from a white person to talk to him. So he could not initiate a conversation, or he'd been taught that de facto segregation. And so, but Coach Lewis had the foresight to glue those guys together. Tracy and Chaney are still great friends even today, 52 years later. A little thing about John Tracy, he went to, he told me as soon as he saw Don Chaney play, he knew it was time to transfer. that was about it. And he went to Hollywood eventually and became a very successful television director. He directed Full House, Growing Pains. He had a long career in Hollywood. And Coach Lewis also influenced very heavily who got to play the game. And then the last part is where the game was played. And I go back and look, if Coach Lewis had not recruited Hayes and Chaney and other African-American players after that, the Cougars would not have reached the level that they reached when in 1967 they reached their first Final Four. They lost to UCLA. And then in 1968, they made it to their second Final Four. But before they went to the second Final Four, you had what was called the Game of the Century. And that game never would have happened if he hadn't brought those players on campus. And the Game of the Century changed where college basketball is played today. January 20th, 1968, it was kind of the perfect storm. Everything just kind of came together. And it wasn't something that Coach Lewis threw together in a couple months, going through the research in the newspaper articles. He was thinking about this game about 2 years before it happened. And, they worked with UCLA, and basically what it was is, Coach Lewis knew he was going to have a really good team when Hayes and Chaney were seniors. Hayes was going to be one of the best players in the nation. And they wanted to play UCLA. And UCLA was on top of the college basketball world with Coach Wooden and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who also center back then. And so, it took a little convincing of John Wooden and people like that, but eventually, Coach Lewis had to convince our athletic director, Harry Fobb, that to get it done. Because Harry Fobb, the athletic director, said, you're not going to get 30,000 people in the Astrodome. It's just not going to happen. Well, Coach Lewis kept pestering him, and finally, they agreed to the game, and they got UCLA to agree to the game. And it was played right in the middle of the season. And like I said, it was just a perfect thing. UCLA came into the game January 20th, 1968. They won 47 games in a row. They won the NCAA the year before. And U of H was ranked number 2. They were undefeated on the season, 17-0. You had the top 2 players in the college game, Elvin Hayes and Lou Alcindor. And then what also made, and then you had the Astrodome, 52,693 fans. For many years, it was the largest college basketball crowd in history. Actually, it was until when the Cougars played the 82 Final Four in the Superdome. That's finally broke our record. And then the other thing was, it was also the first nationally televised college basketball game ever. You probably don't realize it, guys, but even the NCAA finals up until late 60s, early 70s was not broadcast live. I was doing the research, I found out that even by the early 60s, they would play the finals on a Saturday and they would show the highlights. They used to have a show on ABC on Sundays called Wide World of Sports, and they would show highlight clips. They wouldn't actually show the game. And last night on ESPN, they showed the Texas Western Kentucky game, a very historic game from 50 years ago. And you know, that game was not even televised nationwide. It was more of a regional broadcast. Getting back to that Texas Western game, one little point. You know, Texas Western, which is now UTEP, if you remember, they're all African American starting five, and they defeated all white Kentucky in 1966, 50 years ago for a national championship. And the star of that team was a native Houstonian. His name was David Latin. And in fact, his grandson, Kadeem, was playing for Oklahoma right now in the Final Four this weekend. And before Guy Lewis recruited Bell and David Don Chaney, he wanted David Latin to come to UH to play. But he was about a year too early. He graduated a year before Hayes and Chaney. This was 1963. And U of H had just integrated their student body, and they weren't quite ready for it yet. And so Coach Lewis tried to talk David Latin into going off to junior college for a year, and then come back and be the person who integrated. Well, Mr. Latin decided instead to go to Texas Western, and he made history, you know, helping them win the NCAA title. So Hayes and Chaney were not the first gentlemen of African American to try to recruit. But getting back to the Astrodome, first national telecast game in history. It was put together by a gentleman by the name of Eddie Einhorn, who just passed away here in the last month or so. Eddie Einhorn eventually became the owner of Chicago White Sox. He had a long career in television and things like that. And it was a Saturday night, and it went to over 150 television stations around the country. And what all this showed, and the great thing about the game is the Cougars won. Right? So, and I read, and some of you guys may remember Dick Enberg, famous announcer through the years. You know, that was his first national broadcast. And Dick Enberg was kind of like the Jim Nance of today, back in the 70s and 80s and things like that. And you know, Dick Enberg still says it's the most important sports broadcast he ever did. And this is a guy who's done Super Bowls and all that stuff, kind of like Jim Nance. And but he so Dick Enberg broadcast the game, and it was just it made it historic. And you know, ever since then, that's when college basketball really took off. Right before I came here tonight, I saw a thing in the NCAA. They did a big article on the game, and they also mentioned this game made college basketball possible. The way it is today. 3 years later, in 1971, they held their first Final Four in a dome in the Astrodome, and they drew 40-something thousand fans there. And so, really, you know, Guy Lewis changed how we watch the game. And so, when you're watching the Final Four this weekend, you just think, well, the influence Guy Lewis had. And you know, that's why I think he should be remembered. I thought it was great getting into the Hall of Fame. There's been a lot of notoriety this week with him. I've seen a lot of articles and things like that. I just saw ESPN is going to be doing a 30 for 30 show on Phi Slam Gamma, which is going to bring more notoriety to U of H. And so, you know, this, you know, one of the reasons I wrote the book is, you know, I want Coach Lewis and Coach Yeoman's legacy to hopefully be around for a while. Right? And so, but you know, you guys are up for this nice award tonight. I think, you know, hopefully, you know a little more about the man now, and how honored you should be to hopefully have your name, you know, on this award, right? And but I thank you. I know you want to get to the important part and everything, but I appreciate you all's attention, and thank you.
You can be sure that Jim Nance is the University of Houston alum. I don't know if you know that. Jim Nance went to the University of Houston. You can be assured when you watch the championship game or the Final Four, he will mention Coach Lewis and what he did for college basketball. All right, now it's time to come. Start over. It is now time to unveil and congratulate the top 10 players in the city of Houston. Some of these guys will be playing on college hardwood next year. And if you have a jump start on the 2017 Guy Lewis Award as juniors, We actually have one 3-time finalist being honored tonight. It's time to showcase the top 10 finalists for the 2016 Guy V. Lewis Award. We have a little screenshot and possibly a video you've seen too many times already of each player. Remember, there's no award like this for high school boys basketball in the country. And our finalists, and three of our last finalists have played in at least the Sweet 16, and 2 have won the national championship. So this is a high honor for sure. Let's take a look at each briefly, and I want to welcome to the stage Rob Lopez, who will welcome each honoree after their video is shown to receive a certificate for being a finalist and take a quick photo. So here we go. These are in alphabetical order. Our first honoree, that means Jacob is like, really? Last year I went in reverse, so I decided to go A through this time, so bear with us. To get us started tonight, please welcome Ken Busby from Elkins High School. We have a little video to run as well. Hopefully it will run. We've had some computer issues here with our video running, so it may not run. It's going to go, Scotty? Ken's doing pretty. I'm looking at the one over here. You've got the one over my head, so I'm cheating a little bit. Scotty turned off the music on us. He's making sure the video works. Let's see. According to this, a guard, 36-3 on the year was at Elkins, 13-1 in district, national rank 35, Texas rank number 5. Stats, 12 points a game, 2 assists, 2 rebounds, 2 steals. We're rounding up, yeah. Is that good? Round up? Don't round down, Mike, round up. Right? Now I want to congratulate Kenneth Busby from Fort Bend Elkins High School. Congratulations. Our next honoree tonight is from Satch, which we were trying to figure out. I was not going to spell it all the way out. JJ Caldwell. Where's JJ? JJ here tonight. He's one of the couple that have their programs tonight. We have 3 players who have their high school basketball banquets tonight. So we try and avoid the Final Four, the McDonald's game, as many things as we can avoid. So a round of applause for JJ for his presentation. Can you keep it up with me, Scott? Okay. Next up, from Westbury Christian, Marlon Davis. Marlon's stats are pretty, just like mine were. 6'1½" point guard from Houston. So congratulations, Marlon Davis. Next up, and though he's not here, are only 3-time finalists for the award. As a sophomore, as a junior, and a senior, and represented tonight by his University of Houston Cougar sister, Madison Edwards. Please congratulate Carson Edwards from the SSC High School. You want to see Carson's highlights? They're probably running constantly at that house. All right, our next honoree, please help me welcome De'Aaron Fox from Silent High School. And our next guy is the World Finalist. If you're wondering, we let Scotty Lopez pick tonight's musical selection for your highlights. Katy, Texas, point guard, on his way to play for the Kentucky Wildcats. He'll be the 3rd or 4th finalist to go play at Kentucky. Congratulations to De'Aaron Fox. Next up, hailing from Aldine Davis High School, Royce Ham. This is a junior, power forward. Stand up, Rob. Joyce. Our next distinguished finalist is Knox Ellums from Concordia Lutheran. Knox is a shooting guard on his way to go play basketball at Pepperdine. He wanted a place that wasn't very scenic apparently. The ball was in Pepperdine, but maybe one of the nicest campus locations in America. Congratulations, Knox. Our second honoree tonight is Jared Vanderbilt from Victory Prep. If you're here tonight, you're going to we recognize Jared. Is he playing against any of you in these highlights? There's no poster I see in these highlights this year. Next up, Fabian White from Tascasita High School. He and Carson had their basketball banquet season. And finally, as these are in alphabetical order, so he's used to this spot, please congratulate and welcome Jacob Young from Yates High School. If there's one person in the room I know knows more about fabulous, it's Jacob Young. So let's have a round of applause for all of our great finalists. So now it's the time we all were waiting for to announce the winner of the 2016 Guy B. Lewis Award for the Boys High School Basketball Player of the Year in Houston. To open the envelope, it'll be Rob Lopez one more time, and he will hand me the names. Before I open this, just a reminder, this is basketball coaches, athletic directors, media, and fan vote go into this number, and the winner of the 2016 Guy B. Lewis Award as the top boys basketball player in the city of Houston is De'Aaron Fox from Silent High School. The guy that De'Aaron is receiving tonight has a likeness of Coach Lewis on it. And it's to be cherished, I hope. Another round of applause for our winner of the 2016 but I want to let Scotty turn that music off so you don't have to back.
I just want to say thank you. I mean, this is a very prestigious award in the city of Houston. Just the guys that came before me, like you said, Rashid, Andrew Harrison, G, 4-time state champion, and Justice Winslow, one of my teammates from summer. I mean, there's nothing more I can really say. I mean, Guy B. Lewis, he's really changed the game. You know, he really described what he's done for the game of basketball, not just for college, but also the high school game in Houston. So thank you.
This is our fifth event, and it's been an honor to start something in Coach Lewis's name that will only continue to grow over the years. And I know Coach Lewis will be very proud of all of you, the way you carry yourself and the way you take care of the game of basketball. So on behalf of all of our finalists, the Houston Basketball Committee, our great committee, our sponsors, our media partners, and our great sponsors who allow us to put on this event, I want to thank you for attending tonight. Before you go, if you did park a vehicle, we have parking passes for you to get out of the lot. I will remind you really quickly that our new system is not the greatest in the world. We put the blue ticket in first and the green ticket in second. If you put the green ticket in without the blue ticket, you got nothing. Okay, so put the blue one in first, pretend the green is money. On behalf of all of them,